Hello students, welcome back to your history class. I am Ms. Jenny Shah. So we continue with the chapter Central Islamic lands and we're doing map work today. So for the map work, we will need an outline map of the Islamic land. Okay, you will need an outline map of the Islamic land. This map is available in your textbooks on page 82, but of course it's not an empty one. So you'll have to arrange for an empty one for you to mark on it. Okay, so you are going to locate the following on the map that is Cairo, Baghdad, Mecca, Red Sea, and River Nile. Okay, you're going to mark these on the map, and you will also have to say something about these places. So if the question comes that you students should note down the study material from and the geographical features very carefully, and they have to write about it, then you have to write about them. But if you have locate, then you should be able to mark them. So in the description, you will write that Muhammad Sahib was the founder of Islam during his lifetime, that is from 570 to 632 AD. His faith spread almost the whole of Arabia. His place was then taken by the Khalifas of Umayyad dynasty and then by the Khalifas of the Abbasid dynasty. Under the Umayyad Khalifas, the Arabs overran the whole of Syria, Mesopotamia, Egypt, Persia, and the extended empire up to Balkh, Herat, Kabul, and Ghazni in the Central Asia. Under the Abbasid Caliphs, the Muhammad conquered Spain, and a large area between Oxus and Jaxartes were added to the Khilafat empire. If you talk about the geographical features, the main seas are the Mediterranean Sea, the Red Sea, Arabian Sea, Black Sea, Caspian Sea, and Aral Sea. Rivers would be Euphrates, Tigris, Niles, Oxus, and Jaxartes. The main countries will be Alexandria, Egypt, Libya, Spain, Persia, Mesopotamia, Armenia, Traxoxena, and Palestine. Towns would be Tripoli, Cairo, Tehran, Baghdad, Damascus, Samarkand, Mecca, and Medina. Okay, so now I had last class told you all to keep your textbooks on your or your printed chapters or whatever you all have handy, because so this is the map and we've done the markings here. The map is very similar to the one you have in your textbooks. So y'all can just look at the one in your textbook, because this will not, if you look at your textbook, you can do your markings better. Okay. So I want you to read the passage on page number 98, which is the ideal student. And after that, we will answer the following questions. I hope you all have kept the textbooks with you all. Okay. Abd al-Latif, a 12th century legal and medicinal scholar of Baghdad, talks to his ideal students. So this is a conversation. I commend you not to learn your sciences from the books unaided, even though you may trust your ability to understand. Resort to the teachers for each science you seek to acquire. And should your teacher be limited in his knowledge, take all that he can offer until you find another more accomplished than him. You must venerate and respect him. When you read a book, make every effort to learn it by heart and master its meaning. Imagine the book to have disappeared and that you can dispense with it, unaffected by its loss. One should read histories, study biographies, and the experience of nations. By doing this, it will be as though in his short life space he lived contemporaneously with people of the past, was on intimate terms with them, and knew the good and bad amongst them. You should model your conduct on that of the early Muslims. Therefore, read the biography and the Prophet and follow his footsteps. You should frequently distrust your nature rather than have a good opinion of it. Submitting your thoughts to men of learning and their works, proceeding with caution and avoiding haste. He who has not endured the stress of study will not taste the joy of knowledge. When you have finished your study and reflection, occupy your tongue with the mention of God's name and sing his praises. Do not complain if the world turns its back on you. Know that learning leaves a trail and a scent proclaiming its possessor, a ray of light and brightness shining on him, pointing him out. Ahmad ibn al-Qasim ibn Abi Usabia Uyun al-Anba. Okay. So who was Abd al-Latif? Abd al-Latif was a legal and medical scholar of Baghdad of the 12th century. What was his advice to students? He advised his students not to learn the science from the books, but they should resort to an accomplished teacher for getting the true knowledge. According to him, what type of books should the students study? According to him, an ideal student should read histories, study biographies, and experiences of the nations. And by doing so, the ideal student in their short lifespan will live contemporaneously with the people of the past and know the good and bad amongst them. According to him, how should the students model their conduct? According to him, the students should read the biographies of Prophet and follow his footsteps. What values are revealed in the above passage? The above passage contains many values. Number one, he who has not endured stress of study will not enjoy the joy of happiness, will never taste the joy of happiness. When the students have finished their study and reflection, then they should occupy their tongue with the mention of God's name and sing God's praises. And also do not complain if the world turns its back on you. It was a great principle that we should keep in mind. Remember one of the famous poets, दुनिया में हर एक को मुकम्मिल जहां नहीं मिलता, किसी को जमीन मिलती है तो किसी को आसमान नहीं मिलता. Okay, so with this passage, this question answers have ended. I will give you all 2 minutes in case you all are writing to finish it. Before we move to the next passage, we have one more passage for today. Okay, now page number 93. paper, Geniza, records, and history. Let's read the passage. In the Central Islamic lands, written works were widely circulated after the introduction of paper. Paper, which was made from linen, came from China, where the manufacturing process was closely guarded secret. In 751, the Muslim governor of Samarkand took 20,000 Chinese invaders as prisoners, some of whom were good at making paper. For the next 100 years, Samarkand paper remained an important export item. Since Islam prohibited monopolies, paper began to be manufactured in the rest of the Islamic world. By the middle of the 10th century, it had more or less replaced papyrus, the writing material made from the inner stem of a plant that grew freely in the Nile Valley. Demand for paper increased, and Abd al-Latif, a doctor from Baghdad and a resident of Egypt, reported how Egyptian peasants robbed graves to obtain mummy wrappings made of linen to sell to paper factories. Paper also facilitated the writing of commercial and personal documents of all kinds in 1896. A huge collection of medieval Jewish documents was discovered in a sealed room, Geniza, which is pronounced as Ghaniza, of the Ben Ezra synagogue in Fustat. The documents have been preserved thanks to the Jewish practice of not destroying any piece of writing that contained the name of God. The Ghaniza was found to contain over 250,000 manuscripts and fragments dating back as far as the mid-8th century. Most of the material dated from 10th to 13th century from Fatimid, Ayyubid, and early Mamluk periods. These include personal letters between merchants, families, friends, contracts, promises of dowry, sale documents, laundry list, and other trivia. Most of the documents were written in Judeo-Arabic, a version of Arabic written in Hebrew characters that was commonly used by Jewish communities throughout the medieval Mediterranean. The Ghaniza documents provide rich insight into personal and economic experiences as also into the Mediterranean and Islamic culture. The documents also suggest that the business skills and commercial techniques of merchants of the medieval Islamic world were more advanced than those of the European counterparts. Goitian wrote a multi-volume history of the Mediterranean from Ghaniza records, and Amitav Ghosh was inspired by a Ghaniza letter to tell the story of an Indian slave in his book in an antique land. How was paper made by the Chinese? First question. Chinese were experts in making paper from linen. How did the Muslim governor of Samarkand get its secret? The Muslim governor of Samarkand took 20,000 Chinese invaders as prisoners in 751. Some of these were experts in making paper, And it is from them that he got the secret of making paper from linen. And for the next 100 years, Samarkand paper was remained an important item of export. How did the invention of paper lead to the advancement of harmony? It was in the invention of paper which led to the advancement of harmony at a rapid speed. It facilitated the working of commercial and personal documents of all kinds. What great discovery was made in 1896? In 1896, a huge collection of medieval Jewish documents was discovered in the sealed room at Gniza of the Ben Ezra Synagogue in Fustat. What is the importance of Gniza records? The Gniza documents provide rich insights into personal and economical experiences regarding the Islamic and the Mediterranean culture. These documents also suggest that the business skills and commercial techniques of the merchants of the medieval Islamic world were more advanced than those of their European counterparts. So just like this, any passage can come. You should be able to pick out the correct answers. Next class, we begin with the revision of the three orders, another chapter that is coming in your midterm examinations. Start preparing for your midterms. Considering you already studied for your unit test, your 2 chapters must have been finished. The 3rd chapter just got over with me right now, and we will do the 4th chapter from tomorrow. You all are all prepared for your terminal examination, so start studying, do your revisions, do your preparations. Best of luck, take care, stay home, stay safe, and keep studying. Thank you.